Welcome to the Battlefield Show. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sammy Boy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. It's good to be back. Very keen to get stuck into it. How are you going?
Doing fantastic. Congratulations on your feature in the new Modern Warfare.
I knew that was coming.
I see you've trimmed your beard a little bit, but you look great.
Thanks, man. I wish I had the voice to go along with it though. he's got an all-time classic voice. So I'd gladly be Captain Price any day.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, look, it's Sammy Boy." I had to do a double check. I was like, "Wait a second." But Modern Warfare 2 aside, today we're going to be talking about Battlefield, the direct communications that they've been giving, as well as the details on Season 1 that we now have, as well as Battlefield portal maps in the full game. Let's jump right in and talk about it. This podcast is a production of Uplink Media Group. Uplink is a podcast network dedicated to highlighting the love and experience of gaming and pop culture. Check out our other show, Star Wars Uplink and The Forge, the Halo Infinite podcast, as well as our YouTube channels for even deeper dives into Battlefield, Star Wars, and more. YouTube.com/Uplink podcast and StarWarsUplink.com. Internet in Australia land was rough, so we weren't able to record it last week. But we have a lot to go over this week, and goodness gracious, we finally have details on Season 1. We still don't have details on specialists, which they detailed on this, that they're still working on how they want to implement specialists. What was the quote that they had? It was something like, "We're still dedicated to specialists, and we think they're a core part of Battlefield," and blah 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 blah. We're now like 2 months from when we said it was going to be a couple of weeks. Don't mention that at all. Just the usual DICE stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting because I think for most people is the number one thing. I guess probably right now Season 1 is probably the most important thing, but I think the specialists from day one have been the most divisive part. So in a way, it's kind of like, I'm kind of happy that they're taking their time with it because I do want them to get it right. So I'm not totally annoyed by it, but I also am really itching to hear what they're going to say. So
yeah,
it's one of those frustrating situations where it's probably a good decision, but I just wish they would hurry up with it as well.
So this is what they said. On the gameplay side of specialists, we're still exploring bigger changes to their design and don't want to commit into temporary decisions while this work is still ongoing. We are continuing to make regular balance changes, such as the recent nerf to Boris's turret, rest in peace, we won't forget you, and the light overhaul made to rouse passive behavior in 4.0. We will continue to help ensure the experience you have with specialists is well balanced. How specialists fit into the game today can be improved. We're sensitive to and grateful for the feedback that we have received so far from all of you. But we recognize that making a sweeping change to specialists would cause significant delays to our development, more so than we already have in work to improve the experience ahead of the start of our seasons. We do intend to make changes, but want to ensure they do not impact the other improvements, fixes, and content that we're bringing into the game. There are initial ideas that we have, and when we're on sturdier ground with the vision we have for the core gameplay of specialists, we will come to you to share those ideas and solicit that feedback. The core feedback loop for specialists will come later than planned, but we invite you to continue sharing your thoughts around improvements that we can make here. We're not walking away from specialists. They're a key part of the Battlefield 2042 experience, and we just want to make sure that we get this right.
It's a frustrating line to hear, but
yeah.
I think we all kind of knew it was coming. They can't really get rid of them, so it just sucks to hear it at the same time.
Do you actually think that we're going to see changes to specialists in Battlefield 2042? Because it kind of seems like they're kicking the can down the road And it seems like they've tied the experience so deeply to specialists that maybe it's just too far gone for this game.
Um, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see changes, but I do think we will. I don't think it'll be anything drastic. I think it will just be what we've kind of all been saying, that they should just put them into classes or something. So I think they'll still be there, but yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll do that, or maybe they'll like split them evenly into teams or something, so that it's like six. You know, if there's 12 specialists after, if you get dropped, then it's like 6 classes on each team, kind of thing. I don't know, but I think after all the other stuff that they've sort of dedicated themselves to, with all the map changes and all that kind of thing, bringing over the portal weapons and all that, I think they're showing signs that they are trying to change it, and I think things are taking a long time, but yeah, I'm confident we will see some changes. I'm just not really sure what they'll be. They're probably not going to be, they're not going to suffice, I think, for a lot of people in the community. But at the end of the day, if they just try and like meet us halfway, then I think I'll consider that a success, and hopefully they just delete them in the next game.
I mean, I think that's what we're all hoping for, is the next time that they have the idea of specialists. Obviously, it didn't go as well as they'd hoped for. The community did not support them as they hoped that they would, and it was just poorly implemented and added some things that the community, one, didn't ask for, and two, Battlefield as a whole doesn't really need, and just doesn't really, at this point, mesh well with the whole of what we expect to see from Battlefield.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those weird things, like you said, no one really wanted it, so it's one of those odd decisions. I can see the draw to it from their perspective, because at the end of the day, all the other games out there kind of do it, and it makes them a lot of money. So I guess in a way they kind of would have been dumb to not try something, but it hasn't worked. And I think it's at some point they've got to just focus on making good games, and the money will come, rather than focusing on making money and hoping that it's a good game, because I think that's where this game's kind of gone wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's such a strange place to be. It obviously is something that they're dealing with internally. They probably have proponents that are super heavy on it. Maybe DICE up above is leaning heavily on this experience, that they want to have these marketable characters in the game. So I think, I don't know, it's a tough spot to be in. But ultimately, if they go forward, I hope they eventually remove it. It doesn't seem like they have a concrete or even a direction that they're going with specialists. And they may be even limited in terms of the tools that they have to fix that.
Yeah, exactly. It could be one of those things where like it's almost too hard for them to fully fix it. Like we've seen, I remember with Battlefront 2, like they could only have X amount of modes on the main menu because the system wasn't built properly to like enable having more modes. So it could be one of those things where the system just that they've built from this, from the ground up, it just doesn't enable them to actually do what they want to do with it. So yeah, hopefully it's not that, because you'd think they would have learnt from past mistakes that you've got to set things up so that you have a bit of leeway in the future. But they're also very obviously a younger development team, so maybe there's some mistakes that they've made early on that they couldn't really come back from. I'm not really sure, but yeah, it's gonna be a telling few months. I think we surely should hear about it, some point throughout season 1. We surely should hear about the specialists, so it'll be very interesting to see what they end up doing.
Yeah, I mean that was the most exciting thing to me. Reworking the current maps is, it's a good thing to do. I think it's a good direction. I hope it doesn't take away priority from the new maps, because I'd rather have them just delete the old maps and put in new ones with that same stuff that they're learning than take away those resources, because they're already mentioning that the changes that they need to do for specialists are going to take up way too much production time. So like, I think they're just fighting to find what are the easy wins. One, we can make the maps that we already have in the game better. That's something that we easily can do, and it's reworking what we've already built. And then two, take the things that we learned from that experience and from the feedback of fans around the new maps that we're developing, and then also deliver the battle pass content, which they're legally allowed to do. I think those are the main priorities. And then specialist changes will probably be some of the last changes we see in Battlefield 2042, or among the last changes we see.
Yeah, I think, and to be fair, I think that is the situation that they're in. They're obviously just struggling. I think that is kind of the right decision to make, to just take the easy wins where they can. And hopefully these sort of changes, all the map changes, and hopefully season one's really good and everything, and it kind of gets the game back on track. And then at that point, they can go, okay, like there is some dedication from the fan base again. Let's really dig in and fix the specialists and all that kind of thing. So I think that is the right way to go, because at the end of the day, if they really just focus on a lot of stuff that it'll take them months to do, that's going to be months for us without content again. Like, we've already gone 8 months without essentially any content. So it is kind of at that point where they just have to give us something. And yeah, I think all the stuff they've decided to do, as much as we all probably want other stuff, it's just, it doesn't seem like that's really possible. And for me right now, I would prefer to just get something rather than the absolute best thing. If they can deliver some really good stuff eventually, then I think that'll be worth it. But right now, I think we're all just kind of itching for like literally anything. It's been nearly like we're pushing towards a year without any content. Like, it's pretty mad. So
by the time we get new maps, it'll be really close.
Yeah, like I think. So we're getting a map with season one, but do we even know if we're definitely getting that at the start of season one, or is there gonna? Because I know like most other games that have seasons, they have like mid-season updates. I wonder if we're gonna get it like later in the season, which that's kind of how I feel. I can't see a map dropping in this game in essentially within the next 2 weeks. Like, that's going by what they've said. It has to essentially be the next 2 weeks. I can't see a map. My brain does not compute that. It just doesn't seem like DICE can put a new map in this game right now. So
logic does not make sense. Please reboot and try again. I've got the timeline that they set up here, and animation improvements will be in June. Traversal improvements will be in July, and the only thing that we have in terms of map is the kaleidoscope and map update will be in August. And I was wondering if we were going to get even a new specialist or a new honestly a new map, and I was like, where the heck is the mention of this? They don't like really say anything. And then like in the text above,
the fine print.
it's like right above in like 12-point font, it's like new map, new specialist, new weapons, new vehicles, new battle pass, more weekly missions, more portal featured experiences, more community spotlights. And they don't specify a time. The only thing that we know that we're going to be getting this month is animation improvements. And the next month, the only thing we know of are traversal improvements, and then a kaleidoscope map update in August.
It's so weird the way that they laid that out. Why? Like, I think the animation improvements and stuff are really good, but that does not need to be taking up like 2/3 of season one's imagery there.
It's
like,
spanning
no
2
really
of the months.
Yeah, like
who was asking for it?
So that should be in the fine print. I can understand the kaleidoscope map being there, because that's like, it looks like what they've shown is actually really good. So I'm pretty happy with that, and I think that's fair enough to get its own spot. But just put it like, focus on the new map.
That's not the fun stuff.
The main thing. Yeah, the map, the battle pass, the specialists, the weapons, like those are what we want. And I think everyone is like happy with all the smaller stuff they talked about with those animation improvements and all that kind of thing. That looks really good to me, but that should be like the cherry on top, not the main piece of content that we're getting. So it is weird. That almost makes me worried that like the new map is going to be delayed. Like, they'll get halfway through season one and they're like, it's not ready. Sorry, we're going to have to push it back, because they're not showing anything yet. They need to. If it's coming this month or next month, they've got to.
They're acting like we know everything about the map as well.
Yeah.
In that video,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh yeah, this, as we all know, like it's gonna be in Canada, and I'm Canadian, so great." And it's like, you haven't even said what the map is yet. That
is
came in
literally
later in the video.
That's the first official piece of information that we know is that it's in Canada. Like we all know, we've all seen the exposure concept art and stuff, so I think we all get what it is, but they haven't
That was a
actually said
leak
anything.
and a data mine.
Yeah. So like, yeah, it's, I don't know, it's very confusing the way it makes it feel like it's not ready. The fact they're not showing it off, or even if they don't have a picture of it, just like making that the main thing. It feels like they're trying to.
In the cold landscape of Canada, this outpost comes in, and like just paint a word picture.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be an image of it. Just say the name of the map, and like just say new map exposure, and just put that there. That holy
show a video of like maple syrup falling down a mountain. Canada.
So yeah, it's weird. I actually didn't really realize that until you just read it out. That the way they've laid out that season 1 little roadmap thing is very, very weird. And it doesn't say when we're getting it. It's just that black bar at the top spans like across the whole season. So that could just be coming in August. Like we don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if it goes to August, like that's what, 9, nearly 10 months without a single piece of content. Because all the skins and stuff they've added, I don't consider that content. It's stuff that was already ready when the game was done. I consider at this point a new map, a new specialist and weapons and that's new content, and we still haven't really even heard about any.
Yeah. We know for sure that portal weapons are going to be coming into the game.
Big fan of that, I must say.
Great decision.
We called it.
Decision.
We called it.
Yeah.
They must listen.
Hey, Dice, how's it going? Hopefully you enjoy all of the weekly roasts. We're trying to keep you honest. What I find so interesting is they're making a huge, big deal in this post about the specialists and the look and feel of those specialists, but we're not going to get that until season 2.
Yeah.
Which, if that season picks up directly after this first one ends in August, we're going to be getting those specialist look and feel updates, which we were originally expecting in season 1. We won't get those until September or October.
Yeah, that's actually... that in the whole thing that they showed, I guess the voice lines, to be fair, that would take a while because they've got to get the voice actors back in and everything, but the look of them, you'd think they could change that relatively easily. That's not like a huge groundbreaking thing to just change their faces.
Yeah, what I imagine is like we see in this timeline here is we're going to see September is going to be maybe the look and feel of the look of them will be changed, and then in like October we're going to get the voice line changes, and then maybe November we're going to be getting like the actual content. I think we're going to be heavy backloading on all of the content in these seasons, where we were going to be at the last possible second before we get the good content.
Yeah, it does feel that way a little bit, that they're almost pushing everything back as far as they can. It's almost like they do want to like relaunch the game, and they want to sort of push a lot of the stuff they're working on back so that they can do a big like, hey, look at us, we've got it, like look how good we are now. Because then if they relaunch it in like in say season 3, that would probably be November-ish, a year after the game comes out, do a soft sort of relaunch. And then they can actually pump out content because they've been working on it since now. That kind of is how it feels. Because, they seem like they're pushing stuff back, even though they already have. They've already delayed this stuff. This shouldn't have taken this long. Because
we should be in season 2
they've already done
already.
It already. You know what I mean? So, it's very frustrating. But at the end of the day, I'm also not expecting that much, so it's like I'm not really like disappointed because I wasn't going.
Our expectations are so low.
Yeah.
If they do disappoint us, it's gonna be That's just a sign of how bad the game is, honestly.
Yeah, it's
Like, if
almost
they
that, you
disappoint
know,
us-
the "oh no" anyway meme of Jeremy Clarkson. when they announce another delay or something, that's us. We're just like, oh well, wasn't expecting that one to happen.
Yeah, it's a question for you. Obviously, this isn't relating to season 1, as we know from this time frame. What did you think of the voice lines that they shared? They showed Angel and they showed our good old friend McKay.
I like them, but I also, it still sounded a little bit
Yeah,
cheesy, I guess. It sounded a lot better, but it was like, it kind of got like 70% of the way there, and there's still like a 30% cheesiness to it. So I think it's a good change. Like, I'm happy for it, but I also, if it's going to take them that long, like, I'll be honest, I really don't care that much. Just mute the characters. Like, I just don't care. I want content. That's that kind of thing. I think if we're getting heaps of content and stuff, that type of stuff is really good. But if we're not getting content and that's kind of the thing we're hanging out for, I just don't really care, to be honest. Like, just give us something worthwhile.
yeah. Honestly, I would have just been happy if they just muted them, like you said.
Yeah, because the ones that they showed off, I feel like they've also kind of cherry picked. You know, there'll still probably be some cheesy stuff in there. The ones they will show will be like the most gritty ones, and even they felt a little bit cheesy still. So, yeah, I don't know. I do think it's a good change. I don't want to sound too negative. When I listened to it and saw the changes to their faces and stuff, I thought, oh, that's like a good change. That's what the game needs. A bit of a tonal shift, I guess. But the fact that they're kind of selling it like a big selling point, and then it's looking at this roadmap, it's like potentially October. Like, that's just mental to think about.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Like, what do you think in terms of the timeline? Is it something that you expected, or like, what do you think on that?
As in to do with the voice lines, or just like the whole,
Just the whole of the thing. Do you think this is as impactful as a season 1 as it needs to be to bring people back?
It's very hard to tell. It's kind of weird for me. I haven't been thinking that season 1 was going to be. I think a lot of people are expecting season 1 to be like the big, like the soft relaunch. For me, I just have never pictured them being ready enough by then. So for me, I just want this season to be continuing to update the game like they have. So update 4.0 was really good. Update 4.1 was a bit smaller, but it was still really good. And I kind of want season 1 to just continue doing that. Give us like a new map, a new specialist, a couple guns. And that's really all I want from it, is just to keep pushing forward. I don't expect this to be like a huge, like, oh my God, this is the best season ever. Like, I've never really thought they were capable of that, considering the state of the game. So again, I think it's just my expectations are a bit lower. Or it's not even lower, it's just more realistic. I just don't think season 1 will be the big selling point. I don't think they even need to draw people back right now. I just think they need to get it in a state that eventually they can really launch into it and go, whether that's season 2 or season 3, just like then they can kind of send it and go, all right, we're getting 2 maps this season, we're getting 2 specialists, you know, like that's the type of stuff that will bring people back. I just never really thought this would be that. So for that, I'm pretty happy with everything they've shown. Just depends when we get all of it. Like, if we get the map in August, that'll be kind of annoying. But, you know, we're getting a new map, we're getting a new specialist, we're getting a couple new weapons, plus a bunch of the portal weapons. So there's probably going to be like 20 new guns, which is like a pretty decent change. We'll get some vehicles, the battle pass, the animation changes, a couple of changes to Kaleidoscope. So I think that's a good enough season. Like, I'm content with that. I'm not blown away. I'm not like, oh, this is amazing. It's kind of just what I expected.
Yeah.
But I just hope I hope that we can get through season 1 without any hiccups, and the game, once we get to the end of August, the game is like, wow, this is really fun now. Like, people are actually back enjoying it. And then from there, that's when I think it needs to sort of, fully send into, like, trying to get people back. So it'd be interesting to see. What are your thoughts on it?
It's fine. I wish they had actually taken it seriously and were like, okay, this is what we're getting. We're getting one map, and I know we promised this amount of content, but we're going to even do a little bit more because you've been waiting so much longer, and I know this was planned to be in the beginning of the year, but we've had extra time. We can bring this extra content for you. But no, they didn't do that. It would have been great, and it's what the game needs, but hopefully what they bring here is a step in the right direction. They start rebuilding the foundation that they did not build in the first place. And I hope we get the content that, one, the fans really want. And I hope the Battle Pass actually lives up to it. Because honestly, not really hyped around the Battle Pass. The skins that they've shown or have been leaked or data mined or whatever are okay. I mean, it's fine. It's not like, oh man, I have to have that skin. And the game doesn't really support that kind of excitement around it. I mean, Call of Duty is the master of this, Fortnite even more, and you have these really good seasons and this really good cosmetics that make you excited to spend $15 on a whole outfit. But it's just not really motivating for me, honestly.
Yeah, I completely agree with that there's not, and I guess, I don't know, it's hard to judge because I guess we haven't really gotten anything yet, so it's hard to tell, but it does seem like that where I remember like playing Warzone, there were some skins that dropped that I was like, I have to have that. I cannot play this game and not have that skin. It's so sick. I don't know if this game is going to get to that stage where I'm like almost forced to buy the skin because they're so good. Because so far the aesthetic of the game hasn't really grabbed me. Like there's been some cool skins they've added, but they're not like, they're kind of just like a 6 out of 10. You know what I mean? I need like a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 to be excited enough to pay money. So then again, I guess like because I've bought the deluxe, like we get the battle passes free. Anyway,
we're schlubs, man.
So I guess like I mean, it's going to be hard to tell because I don't know how much they're going to do outside of the battle pass. I can't imagine them dropping a bunch of skins in the battle pass and then also in the store there's like 20 skins. I just don't see them being able to do that. It's
disappointing because that's what it needs, and that's what the other games, and what's what we're used to when a game announces a battle pass. It's like, oh, you get this free weapon skin, and then you also, if you buy the battle pass, you get this character skin, or you get this and this. Each level you get something awesome, and then like for every 5 levels, if you don't pay, then you get this. But I highly doubt we're probably going to see like for every level of the battle pass you get XP, and then for every 5 levels you get a skin or something like that. That's what I'm expecting that we get, but it needs to be like, no, you get something like this one you get an emote, this one you get a skin, this one you get a weapon skin, this one you get blah blah blah. Like start doing stuff like that, or this one you get a new attachment. Like that's what it needs to do. But there's no way we're gonna get that.
Yeah, I can't see them. There's 100 tiers. I can't see them having, I'd say a reasonable amount for any other game would be like 80 of the 100 tiers being like things, and then the other 20 would be like XP and little like badges and stuff. I can't see them dropping 80 items like that. They haven't given us any content in 8 months. I can't see, unless that's the reason they delayed it, is to get all this out. But even then, I just don't think that's the case. So I don't know. It's going to be, I think that's going to be a big telling point, is like, that's kind of setting the standard for the future battle passes, and that's the only area that I think this is a really important season, is probably the battle pass, because I think we'll get content in the future seasons, but if they set a really poor standard for the battle pass, no one's going to buy that in the next season. You know what I mean? That's where they need to make their money. That's where they need to hook the players in, and especially because it's their first time. They've never done a battle pass before, so yeah. That's probably the thing for me. Of all the other stuff, I'm not too fussed about how many pieces of content we get outside the battle pass, but I really do. I think the battle pass itself needs to be like an 8 out of 10 to be worth bringing people back in future seasons by like, you know, they're obviously going to improve it. So this one might be say a 7, and then the next one might be an 8. But if this one sets the standard so low, people just won't be excited in the future, and then they're not going to spend their money, and then this game just won't progress. Like it just never will make enough money for them to go, yeah, this is worth, you know, continuing on with.
Yeah, exactly. This just in. Dice developer Dice discovers battle passes 8 years after they were created. Someone at Dice is like, guys, I come up with something fantastic. Imagine if a DLC pack was free or paid for, but spread out over like 4 months. I was like, genius! Give this man a raise! But it's just skins. Oh my gosh! Switching gears a little bit, going into a little bit more exciting fun land. This just recently came out a couple days ago. We have Portal maps coming to 64-player Conquest?
Yeah, I think it's just 64 just because they... Yeah, I guess they wouldn't be big enough to support 128
AKA real Battlefield?
For me, that's good. I don't want 100... I've decided after they've removed 128 player Breakthrough, I just want them to delete 128 player Conquest as well. It's so much easier to find games on 64 player modes. It runs better. Just delete it. I don't think anyone... The only people playing it are the casuals who just... That's like the mode that they see. And
they don't know you can change the game mode by pressing the button.
Yeah, there's just a play button and they just click that because it's set to Conquest already. So just delete it, man. Get back to what we've known. And I was all for 128 players, but once they've deleted the 128 player Breakthrough, now I'm just like, nah, just delete Conquest as well.
Yep, so, drag it to the trash can, clear off the recycling bin. We don't need it anymore.
But in terms of the maps, I'm very, very happy about that. That's like, of all this stuff, that's probably one of the biggest things that they've said, because it's like a pretty simple fix. Like I haven't played, but I'm fairly sure it's already in the game, and that's 4 new maps. And I know, like, for us, for example, we've played those maps for thousands of hours, so it's like, it's not new, but it's new enough, and it's also just nice and refreshing to just have those in the rotation. So
it's a change in mindset, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, I think that's the pivotal thing, isn't it? That it's just them admitting, like, okay, we kind of messed up. Here's some stuff that... Like,
who would have ever thought that we'd get weapons? If this was previous Dice, we wouldn't get any of those weapons. We wouldn't even be like, oh, please, Father Dice, could we have maps from Portal, please? It's like, we wouldn't even be brave enough to ask that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a spot on point there that, like, it's just, even if it was just one map, I'd be like, yes, that's so good, because that's them admitting, like, okay, we haven't done enough, and here's a simple change that we were against that you guys have kind of shown you want, so here it is. Like, that's a really big change for them in terms of their mindset. So that's a very good point. That's probably bigger than the actual content itself, is just the fact that they're opening themselves up to do that.
Before they'd be like, silly boy, you don't know what you want. Here you go. 128 players, open wide. No, Dad, I don't want... I want 64 players. Yeah, I think that's the thing that excites me the most, is like, they're finally like saying, yo, hey, Ripple Effect, we like your cut, G. Could you help us out a little bit? Could we have some of your content, please?
Yeah, that's also a good point, is that they're kind of, it's almost like they're asking for a bit of help from Ripple Effect, who I think we all agree they are the ones who probably should be running Battlefield at this point. They've shown way more competency in this game, so that's another good point. Is that they're potentially reaching out for a bit of help from them, which is good. And we're meant to be getting more portal maps, so I guess those will also be added to.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well,
is that going to come?
I say we're meant to, but like, are we though? I don't actually know.
Have they actually confirmed this in a legal sense?
Well,
are they legally obligated?
They definitely said that ripple effect is staying on for 1 year. That doesn't.
Yes.
I guess that doesn't mean more content, but I just think we all assume that, and I don't know what else they'd be working on unless it was this. Like maybe it's taken a long time to port this stuff to All Out Warfare, so who knows? But I'd imagine we will get more content. And I also noticed something. I completely forgot about this until just now. In that video, did you pay attention to what was in the background?
Oh no, what was in the background?
They had Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 4 cases on the desk behind them.
Oh,
just those two, not the others.
Gosh.
They just had those two.
Oh, yep, I
perfectly
see it.
Positioned that you could see them, and there was nothing else in the background. So it could just be my tinfoil hat going on, but
I'm climbing into your tinfoil hat right there with you, buddy. We're gonna make a tinfoil tent.
I noticed that, and I kind of like dismissed it because I don't want to get my hopes up, but
yeah,
it was odd placement.
Like, why would you? Why would you? Because they're clearly put there intentionally. That who had that's a desk, I think, behind them.
Yeah.
Like,
there's no chance those two,
I mean,
especially because
we probably both would do that on our desk, but for a video,
yeah. And the fact that it's not like it's the two most recent. If it was Battlefield 1 and 5, I'd be like, oh, it's just the two most recent games. But why is it Battlefield 4 and 1? That's the part that I'm like, this is a bit interesting. So
you got my hope up so hardcore right now.
I'm sorry, man, because it's not going to happen.
It's not, but I really wanted to. Come on, Dice. Why do you have to do this to us?
Oh, goodness. But yeah, that's something that I guess could happen. They are still working on Battlefield, so like we should get more Portal content. I don't know what else they'd be working on unless, like I said, it was just porting all of this over, or maybe they literally have just been working on like All Out Warfare content. I'm not really sure, but you would think if they're still working on it, they're going to give us some more Portal content. So, hopefully that does happen. Hopefully they can then add that to All Out Warfare. Because, for example, if we say that happens in like November, then if we get 2 maps plus one map this season, and I'd imagine 1 map next season, that is 4 maps that we're getting across the 2 seasons. And to me, that's like pretty decent. I'd be pretty happy with that. So I think that's one way they can kind of, because again, it's a bit easier to redesign the maps than to make them from scratch. So it's probably also, again, one of those easy wins that they can kind of put that in there and it doesn't take them as much time. It still takes a long time, but
yeah, it's not as easy as like a copy and paste, but it is much easier than creating it from scratch. And also, like Battlefield 1 they have like some of the best designed maps period in the franchise's history.
Yeah,
don't touch them, Dice. First of all, Ripple Effect. Ripple Effect would never do that. Ripple Effect, I'm sorry for insinuating this against you. Dice, don't get in the way.
Yeah, I hope that they're full just remasters and not a remake or something. Just leave them how they were. They were perfect. Yeah. Battlefield 1 maps, man, I would be so happy if we got even just one. Just give me any. Yeah. I don't care which one. Just give me any of them. I'd be so happy because honestly,
please, Father,
there wasn't any that I don't like. There was some that were like worse than others, but I really liked all of them, and probably the same with Battlefield 4.
Even the worst Battlefield 1 map is better than the best Battlefield 2042 map.
Yeah, it like genuinely is. I would love that. Imagine Army ends with the chaos of 2042, like a bit faster movement and stuff. That would be so good.
Yes.
Because
And
say
you know
what you
that
will about
means?
this game, I think the gunplay is pretty decent. I think the movement's decent. The actual gameplay itself, other than it's had issues, but they're kind of getting it to a good place. I think this gameplay with a lot of those better maps would be really good, because to me
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the biggest failure with this game is the map design. Like
Oh
I've said
yeah.
this in the past, any game that I don't care how good any game is, if the map design sucks, it's not a good shooter. That's just how it is. Modern Warfare, that game had the best gunplay, and the maps were so bad that it was just I just don't like that game because the maps were so terrible. It's the same with this game. So if they can put these maps that we know and love in there, and the other part is a lot of people haven't played those maps. This is a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people's first Battlefield. To a lot of people, that would be like brand new content, and it would be amazing. Like imagine playing the Battlefield 1 maps for the first time again. Like that would be so good. So
Yes.
I definitely think it's the right way
I
to
would
go.
love to relive that.
Oh, dude, I'll do anything to play Battlefield 1 for the first time again. That was,
Yes.
I remember that day like it was yesterday. Just like I was fully immersed in that game.
So good, man. Oh, please. Something that I doubt would ever happen, but I hope it does. If they add Battlefield 1 weapons, please bring the sniper. And please, for the love of all that is good in this world, bring back the sniping headshot sound from Battlefield
Yes.
1.
Yes. Oh, mate. That's the absolute number one headshot sound in any shooter that has ever happened. Without a doubt. It's so satisfying.
So
I
good.
don't know. I have to go play Battlefield 1 after this.
Yeah,
It's got me all
exactly.
worked up.
Time to hop back on. Someone commented on one of the video versions of the podcast. It was like, could you put gameplay of Battlefield 2042 on these, please? This is the game you're talking about. It's like, sorry, but I've been playing Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1, so I don't have any of that gameplay. Sorry,
Yeah,
I've been 24/7 Battlefield 1 over here. Plus, I always forget to record when I'm playing Battlefield 2042. It's just like, okay, record. I'll get some Battlefield 2042 for everybody. Any final thoughts on this update? We've got maps, experiences, and modes, core gameplay, new content. The changes that they're making on the maps are good. Definitely enjoy that. I think we talked about that. Did we talk about it last episode? I think. But this one featured a lot more detail and actually it actually featured close-up content and images and video walkthrough instead of like, oh, hey, if you squint a little bit, you can see there's a little bit of a difference. This one, there's now like tracks on the roads, there's trash, there's leaves, there's just like sandbags everywhere.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the changes. After the first feedback loop they gave us, I was like, I guess okay with it. What they showed, I was like, yeah, that's all right. But now that they're showing different places as well, it's not just the same places they've showed. So they're obviously doing this to most of the map. I don't think it will be the entire map, but the points of interest anyway. And like you said, even just the detail of the tracks, the track marks. I'm looking at that center building on Kaleidoscope, and they've got the track marks all around it, and there's rubble on the ground and stuff. I'm really, really happy with those changes. So
it just shows how freaking ridiculous it was in the first place to
Yeah.
think that was a good idea. Who was like, yeah, that looks so good. And you look at it, once it's actually fleshed out, it's like, oh, hey, look, this is an actual place instead of this is a magical, design land of this utopia. And
that's the
war
thing
would
they
never
went
be
with, I
here.
reckon, is it looked like what you'd imagine kind of the near future in a really nice city to look like, which is great, but that's not a good shooter. You need actual cover and a bit of grit to it. So I think their design at the start was I can see where they were coming from, because a lot of people made the point that a lot of these maps were meant to be the initial conflict. So like the map wasn't damaged because we are coming in and it's the first battle, which
but there's literally no damage that you can do to the maps.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I get that that's what they're going for, but that doesn't feel good when you're playing it. You know what I mean? It needs to feel like maybe the battle's been going on for a day, and then you're like kind of exactly. So yeah, it's a stark difference. I'm really, really happy with these changes, and it's just going to be interesting to see how they go with like all the other maps. Are they gonna do every map? Is it just the few that they think are the worst? I'm not really sure.
They do everyone.
Yeah. As long as it doesn't take up too much time from the rest, I really hope that they cover all of them.
Exactly. I'll preface that with like, I hope so. But if it's a decision on like, we're going to work on a new map or we're going to work on redoing the old maps.
Yeah.
Get rid of the old maps. Work on something new. We've played these maps so long. It's going to be fun for like the first couple weeks. And you're like, okay, yeah, it's the same thing. But like on a new map, you get to learn all the nooks and crannies. You get to kind of get the experience of what are the best ways to approach this. What does it work well in Conquest versus works well in Breakthrough? Like we already have all that information. It's not like they're going to change it drastically enough for those types of experiences with the old maps. So like just make new ones.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think if it doesn't take too much time, go for it. But if I would choose one new map that's like pretty decent over all of the other maps getting made pretty decent. I just think, we've played these maps enough that I think we're all, even though they kind of suck, we're all just like used to them anyway. And it's like, it's not going to make as big of a difference as we probably think it will, at least on some of the other ones. I think some maps like certain parts of Orbital, I think are really decent. I think that map is actually like somewhat well designed. It's just there's the part where like the rocket launch pad is, that's way too open. But I think like the bits in the hills and stuff, that's all fine. I think that's decent enough.
Yeah.
So it's not like all the maps suck this bad. Kaleidoscope is like genuinely just not good. So it definitely needed a bit of a change.
We've had 8 months to play on these maps. It's adding a new coat of paint, while good, it should have been there at launch, and it's kind of too late to bring people back. And it's too little too late. Good change. Keep up the good work. This is the direction that you should use to follow up any following map. If there is a new map, if the Canada map comes out and it's exactly the same as the other ones, it's too clean, too open, and I really am concerned about the verticality of it, because it just seems like there's going to be a central point that is going to be easily defended, and you're going to lose your game because another team spawns closer to it, can hold it better.
Yeah, looking at that concept art, it was kind of hard to tell which bits were in and out of the map, so I guess it's hard to tell, but it looked, the top, like the little plateau part looked just so flat, and then there was just like this cliff that I assume is in the map. So like, I'm pretty worried about that map, if I'm going to be honest. But I do think that they would have learnt. Like maybe that's why they haven't said when this is coming, because they maybe are putting a bit of extra work into that. So, like as much as I said, I hope it's not August. I think I would be okay if it drops in August, but it's like got a lot of cover and they've put in the extra work. So.
Make sure it's in Banff instead of like Saskatchewan, where there's nothing.
yeah, exactly.
I hope so. You know the meme where the dog's sipping coffee while everything else is on fire? That's like DICE. This is fun.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
It's good direction. I'm glad for the communication. Really strange it took so long for them to confirm that. Like literally it's 2 paragraphs, 6 sentences or something like that. Like, hey, yeah, we're still working on the specialists. The specialists are a core part of Battlefield. We'll touch base later. Like that could have been a tweet from anybody. But it took that's 9 weeks for it to come out.
Yeah. I'm glad that they kind of said like, we're taking our time and that's why we're, being a bit slower with it. But I kind of wish they went into like a bit more detail about why. Like, give us a reason that it's taken so long. Maybe they have toyed with some changes and they've implemented them on their end and they've play tested and it didn't really work or something. Just give us like some substance to it, other than just like, yep, we're still working on it, it's okay. Like it's not that reassuring to just hear that. So kind of frustrating.
Take your time on the development. Don't take your time on communication. Don't wait until something, like if it's starting to be like, oh hey, this isn't really working right now. Don't say, oh yeah, we'll give it the time and then we'll communicate it. Just say, hey, we're still working on it. This is something that's very important to the game. We're struggling to get it developed in the time frame without taking away resources from the other content. And we'll touch base later. Like, that's all they need to say. Easily a tweet. Do it. Like, don't wait until you get a whole video crew together and then get a schedule for everyone to talk about it and then get everything set up and edited and then reviewed by 15 people and then a complete blog post about it with all of these. Like, you don't have to do that. Stop being so extra, DICE.
Yeah. They need to stop taking their idea of communication is like so much more than they need to. Just tweet something. Like their communication is like 2 months apart, and then it's like a full video production. And it's like that's great. I enjoyed it, but no one asked for that. Like, just give us a tweet. Like that's all we want. Is just every week, every fortnight, talk to us. You don't need to go into massive detail on everything. Just let us know that like you're still doing this, you're still doing that. They could have split this whole thing up. Instead of doing it, it's taken them 2 months to do this whole blog post. They could have split it up into 4 bits and given us them every fortnight, and that would have been way better, even though it's the same amount of information. Yeah, they have a weird, like a skewed vision of what communication is, I think. So
your intern may have gone to film school, but it's fine. You don't have to make a video out of everything.
Yeah, it's very odd the way they go about it, because a lot of other development studios out there, they just literally just tweet like, yeah, we're working on this, and that's it, and everyone's like, yes, that's great. And like with DICE, where they get the same result, because when they do tweet this, they put this blog post out and we were all like, yes, this is awesome, but it's once every 2 months rather than every fortnight. So it's just,
or even reach out to content creators. Just get like talk to Jack Frags, or talk to this incredible Australian YouTuber named Sammy Boy. Like anybody, really. They're going to do a video way quicker than DICE is.
Oh,
and you can
100%.
even say, like, these are the questions that you can ask. You can't ask anything else, and then just put it up. Like, literally, that's all they have to do. Then they aren't responsible for any of the video production stuff. They aren't responsible for putting anything together. Like, literally, that's all they have to do.
Yeah, that's it. And that's what they did before launch, was like, it was a lot of creative marketing, and I think that worked well enough. I think give the people in the Game Changer program, or people who, like, for the stuff before launch, that wasn't even the Game Changers. They just kind of cherry-picked a lot of people in the community that, are loyal to the game.
I'm sorry, it's the EA Creator Network now.
True. Like, get those people, just give them a little bit of information and say, here's an embargo date, you can't talk about it until here, but everything in this little information package you're allowed to talk about. And then you've got 100 YouTubers making videos on it. Everyone's going to see that still. And then all they need to do is just tweet out the base information. And even just tweet the link to a Jack Frags video and say, for more information, Jack Frags has covered it really well here. And it's like, I think they're a bit scared that that's like unprofessional or something, but they did it before launch. So I don't get the issue.
Yeah. They just need to read.
They literally have done that.
J. Dodd's newsletter, and then everyone will know. Yeah. I hope that the communication gets better. There are no expectations for the communication to get better. We've been experiencing this for the last 15 years, and it still hasn't gotten better. It's actually gotten worse. Year over year, release over release, it has gotten more difficult for them to release any information about things. Like, it takes a bare minimum amount of stuff. Like, I'm in marketing. work for a tech company. Like, it does not have to be this difficult. But
No.
if it is, it's a deeper problem. You need to adjust. You need to address it and adjust it, and that's what needs to happen here. But
Yeah, 100% agree.
I'd rather have 4 smaller updates, 1 a week, than one gigantic one that's gonna pop up and then fizzle out.
Yeah, because that's the issue with this stuff is like we got this the week we got that initial one. It was so exciting, and like everyone in the community was like, "Oh, this is sick!" And then now, like, no one really cares anymore because it's just quiet again. Or I guess, like, to be fair, this week they've tweeted some stuff, but it's kind of different right now because they're heading into season 1. If they weren't communicating, then that would be like, you know, publicity suicide for them. That's like so dumb to not be communicating right at season 1. But it shouldn't have taken them until season 1 to actually start doing this. So yeah, I just. Like you said, I hope that they do. It needs to. I think the thing that they hear about the feedback from, or like for communication, is they think it needs to be bigger and better. That's not what anyone's asking. Anyone who wants better communication is asking for more frequent communication, not bigger and more extra and a video production and all this stuff. Like, it's cool. I really enjoyed that, but was it worth waiting 2 months? Probably not. Probably not worth that much time waiting. So that's the thing they need to get their head around, and it's really frustrating because I think it is some sort of internal issue with like their policies and stuff, like you've said in the past. Because I know Kevin really well. I know Freeman well enough that these guys want to be talking to us, but they obviously can't. So there's got to be some sort of deeper issue there that's preventing them from just being more constant with their feedback.
I hope it changes. I don't expect it to, but I hope it does.
Yeah.
It would be great. I mean, they have such a huge resource in terms of the creator and creator space, and other games would kill to have this amount of community around their game. And DICE is like, nah, screw those guys. They make everything super difficult. We're not going to touch or talk to them at all. They suck. They make us rework our maps. They don't like our specialists. They're so stupid. I know. I would be very annoyed with this too, but you have us, use us. I think that's what I'm going to end this episode with.
Yeah.
But with that, we'd love to hear your feedback on the changes around Battlefield 2042. What are you most excited for? What do you expect to see in Season 1 and Season 2? And when do you expect to see the next content? When do you expect to see the map for Battlefield 2042? What are your thoughts on the older maps from Portal coming into Conquest? We'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, thanks for listening. We'd like to thank Ethan Clark for the beautiful thumbnail, and we'll see you all on the battlefield.